This had to be the worst experience of my life. One of the worst experiences of my life. If you walked out in the sun at all, it felt like the sun was burning your skin. Like it felt like your skin was burning. This heat wave is about to be longer and hotter than probably any heat wave I have ever experienced in Paris. Already twice this year, this will be our second heat wave. This museum does not have air conditioning, but it has a garden, and it is astronomically cooler in this garden than it is outside. So I'm gonna walk around this garden, and then I'm gonna keep on my errands. But I can guarantee you that tomorrow, your homegirl will be in the Louvre, and I know the quiet place in the Louvre where there's so much air conditioning and it's so cold up in there. But yeah, we will be finding museums with air conditioning. We will be subscribing to them. We will have abonnements. It is unnaturally hot, but I want to start trying to grow my lemon tree, and then I have to clean up because my house has entered a state of total and complete disrepair. So I got these. Oh my gosh, I literally just dropped 2 of the lemon seeds down the drain. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna I already have the little balls at the bottom. And here is my soil. I feel like this pot might be too big. No, we're gonna start off. We're just gonna do it in the big pot because if it works, then that means it works. I feel like anyone on the internet would tell me not to do it this way, but I just don't care. I'm hot, so I get to do it whatever way I feel like it. I put them in here. And now, let's just hope for the best. Everyone send prayers and positive vibes, okay? I feel like I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't tell you every single thing that my French and Parisian friends say that they have done to survive this heat wave. So, with that said, here is the funniest list of things people have done. 1, we stay inside and sit in the dark. This is what my French friend said. She goes, this is what we do. And she's right. She's not joking. Literally, people have sheets on the outside of their windows. This is actually a very French thing to do when there's a heat wave, is that they close the shutters and they stay inside and they sit in the dark. And that is their solution to the heat. Another person said she volunteered to water the grass and the plants in the cemetery because it's cooler. Someone else said that they only go out early in the morning and very, very late at night. Another person said, I've been swimming in this canal. I will not ever eat at that person's house, like ever. Another French person I know said, I turn on my air conditioning for 1 hour just to refresh my apartment, and then I close all the windows again. I was like, 1 hour? They were like, I don't want to disturb my neighbors with the noise. Can I tell you that if there's one thing I'm not thinking about, is the noise from my air conditioning and how it might be affecting my neighbors. Trust me. I'm sure they all hate me. I don't care. I have to sleep. Other people have said they're going to libraries or museums that have air conditioning. And last but not least, one person I know literally said that they're taking water from the fountains in Paris, filling up a water bottle, and then they dump it all over their head intermittently throughout the day. And I literally had to be like, the water in those fountains has serious bacteria in it. At least use the actual drinking water fountains that are all over Paris. And they were like, really? And I was like, pull out the water bottle that you've been using for that. I'm going to show you. And they pulled it out, and the water was green and brown. And they were like, ugh, I've been dumping that all over my head. And I said, and you wonder why I didn't want to bees you. I really keep trying to film some sort of like really interesting, engaging content on how to survive a heat wave. But the thing is I am barely surviving this heat wave. And I have my little air conditioner. I shove that hose out the window. I wrap my curtains around that hose, and that is cooling my apartment. I do not care if my electricity bill is $1,000 next month. I just can't do it. It's too dagnabbit hot. Do you get what I mean? It's too hot. Okay. So, I didn't sleep last night. I'm pretty certain that I was at the beginnings of dehydration because I felt nauseous, and then I felt more than nauseous, if you know what I mean. So that's what I was doing at 4 in the morning, and then my body, I guess, was like sufficiently drained. Let's sleep now. Thank you, body. But I'm just here with this little air conditioning on. It's Fête de la Musique, and there's this man out here on the corner with his speaker and his voice and his dream, and he's singing for the block. And I just want to say thank you, sir, for doing the good Lord service. I made a nice cold salad for dinner. I don't really want to eat anymore, and I'm exhausted because I didn't sleep. So I'm going to go to bed, and we're going to try this again tomorrow because I'm hot. Hello, my loves. So yesterday I figured out the secret to getting a good night's sleep. So what I've done is I turn it on starting at like 7:30, cool the whole apartment down. So I start it in the bedroom, then I move it into the living room, get the whole apartment to maybe like 72 degrees. Like that's really as cool as it can ever get anything. But then that's enough to cool the apartment down. And then before I get in the shower, and then I take my shower and everything, then I move it back into the bedroom. First I dehumidify the bathroom. After I dehumidify the bathroom, then I plug in the air conditioning. Then I shove the hose out of the window. And then I am able to cool down my bedroom while I do my evening skincare. And then I set that on auto and I go to sleep. And y'all, best 8 hours of sleep, my love. Best 8 hours of sleep. So then I was reading about what's good for preventing dehydration. And it was like lemon water. And I was like, great. But I didn't think I had my diffuser. I did. So yeah. I think I'm going to go to the Louvre because the air conditioning there is really nice, and sleep on a bench. And if you're wondering, can you sleep on a bench in the Louvre in a heat wave? Yes. During a normal time of the year, they might tell you to leave. But let's just say I saw more than one person sleeping on a bench yesterday. So I'm going to go do that because I feel so hot. And you can't be inside you can't like be in your house during the day. It just gets too hot. Like you can't open your windows or anything. It's just insufferable. So I'm going to show you the salad that I made. It's so good. It's so cooling. It's so delicious. You can eat it cold, best part. And the best part is that you can make it cold after you cook it. Like, so you don't have to worry about, it's such a simple recipe that you can get it nice and chilled pretty quickly after even cooking it. I'm going to show you just as soon as I finish up. I went to the loveliest event on Saturday. I met the most lovely people. I had on, when I walked in, people gasped that they thought my outfit was so great. I love putting together a show-stopping outfit. And the thing about the dress that I wore is that is the first time in 2 years that I've been able to fit into that dress. So it like made, when I tell you, it made me feel so good to be able to fit in that dress again. I'm just like so happy. Okay, so this is it. I've put half a lemon. I'll save the other half so I can do some more. Okay, we'll just wrap this. Because I am an environmentalist, I use reusable beeswax instead of plastic wrap. So yeah. This is my healthy salad. So first and foremost, I start with a base of lettuce. You don't have to add this part, but because baby is hot in here, we need as many cool things as possible. Okay, so there's that. Next up, we have right here, last night I cooked some lentils. I cooked lentils, and then I also cooked, I sauteed some shrimp, some onions, and some garlic, and I combined the lentils. So as soon as the lentils were done cooking, I ran cold water over them to cool them down because I didn't want anything hot. So I immediately cooled them down, which was great. And then I mixed in the now much colder lentils with the freshly sauteed shrimp, onions, and garlic. And then I made a little sauce that I then mixed in as well, which was oil, like a teaspoon of Dijon mustard, and then I did lemon juice, but you could also do white wine. I preferred lemon juice because I thought that was good. And I mixed everything up, and this is how it's looking the next day. And this is like packed with protein. So you just pop this on top of your salad, right? And then cover it back up so you can put it in the refrigerator. And then to finish it off, oh, and also you season the lentils, after you mix in the lentils, the shrimp and the onions and the garlic, you season it. So, you know, salt, pepper, herb de Provence, paprika, all that good stuff. So then you finish it off by adding on, these are tomatoes that I have. I have red tomatoes, I have yellow tomatoes, I have orange tomatoes, and you just put them all on top. The reason I keep it all separate is because I didn't want it to get mushy. And then that's it. That's your salad. It's so, so good, and it's super, super healthy, and this is what it looks like. So yeah. That's what I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to answer a few more emails and then go to the Louvre. Because I'm so hot. It's like there's nothing I can do about it. It's just miserable. I forgot that it's Tuesday, and the Louvre is closed on Tuesday, but it doesn't matter. I'm on this bench. I'm going to chill here and relax here because it is cool. I have my little mobile fan blowing on me. La vie est bonne. La vie est bonne. this had to be the worst experience of my life. One of the worst experiences of my life. I can easily put this in top 5. When you walked out in the sun, if you walked out in the sun at all, it felt like the sun was burning your skin. Like it felt like your skin was burning. And so you couldn't walk in the sun. It was so hot. Like, and it wasn't just that it was so hot. It was so hot everywhere. Like you couldn't cool down. The inside of your apartment became a furnace. So you couldn't turn on your oven. You couldn't use your stove because it just became too hot. So you didn't want to leave the doors, your windows, open because of the heat. But also at the same time, you just wanted to see if any air moved. But that was the thing. The air didn't move at all. And it never cooled down at night. That's a big thing of Paris, is that it cools down a lot at night. So by the end of it, your apartment is 105 degrees, right? And there were people who were like, oh, well, do you have air conditioner? I have a mobile AC unit. Yes, I'm very fortunate to have a mobile AC unit. But the thing about it is, because I have the French windows, you have to shove the hose outside and your windows are still open, right? So it's not like AC where it really is going to cool down the space. Like max you get 10, 20 degrees cooler. I could never cool down. Like I really, truly never cooled down. Like even though now it's over, you can see like the exhaustion and the toll it took on everybody, because it was just so much. You can't sleep, you can't really eat. So you're just, I know people who fainted at work, almost fainted at work. I know a lot of people who didn't go to work. I know people who went to work, but only because their job had AC. Anybody whose office didn't have AC didn't go to work. Like everything shut down in this country, much in the same way things closed in August. That's basically what happened, because it really did become unhealthy. Like you couldn't, let's say you wanted to go to an air conditioned spot, then you had to make the effort to like get there, and getting there was going to wipe you out. And a lot of the air conditioned places in Paris aren't, like, they don't get cold. It's not like the US where you walk in and you're hit with this blast of cold air. I mean, it's just a little bit cooler than outside, right? You're still sweating. Like, I had a lot of like crazy comments. Like my mom at one point was just like, I don't understand why you can't just go somewhere and cool off. And I was like, Mom, the whole Dagnabbit city is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Like they don't have air conditioning here. Like there isn't that much stuff that's new. That's why you can look at a movie of Paris from today and a movie of Paris from 30 years ago, and it's gonna look the same, right? And so I was trying to get her to, I was like, you have to understand, like, we literally, like, there's no AC even in the hospitals. So if there's no air conditioning even in the hospitals, where are you going to go? Like, I, at one point, was going to go to the hospital because I was like, I think I'm going to faint in this apartment. Like, I could die in this apartment and no one would know. And I was like, I think I need to go to the hospital because I'm too dehydrated. Like, I can tell I'm dehydrated. And then I learned that there was no AC in the hospitals. I was like, forget that. Powerade and water, here we go. So I'm fortunate because my aunt, my cousin, I was just like messaging them the whole time, like, what do I do? And they like have me on a solid plan. My feet were so swollen. They hurt so badly. They were so swollen. I have been miserable. I have been miserable. And then now the thing is to like cool our apartments down, now that it's over, is to really like cool them down and because like your apartment just became an oven, so you got to bring it down. So I've been like opening the windows this morning, and it's lovely opening the windows. I was hit by a blast of cold air, and I was like, thank you, Jesus. But the crazy thing is this. They're saying that in a week, we get to do it all again. So everyone, collectively, every single human being on here who's a praying saint, who goes to church, even if you don't pray, if you happen to know someone who does, please pray that between today and the next heat wave, somehow I will get a house in the countryside, maybe in Provence, with a pool and some air conditioning. That's what we need. Because the next one, I don't think we can do it in Paris. It got too hot.